What does real-world success in business actually look like? Welcome to Bearcats Mean Business, the official podcast of the University of Cincinnati's Carl H. Lindner College of Business, where inspiring career stories, honest lessons, and fresh business perspectives from the people building impact in the real world come together. Tune in for inspiration, practical business insights, and forward-looking thought leadership on how ambition turns into action. And now, for today's episode. All right, Hamsa, thank you for being here on Bearcats Mean Business, journeying down from Mason, Ohio. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here.
Awesome. So let's start with some basic background stuff. Where are you from? What brought you to Lindner? Everyone's got a story. Everyone's got an origin story. So what was the process that kind of brought you to Lindner, and where do you hail from?
Yeah, so I've been living in Mason for about, I would say 7-8 years now. And I knew that I wanted to stay definitely kind of close to home. So I think a lot of people that come to UC know that that's going to look like, right here or Miami or OSU, kind of like, staying close to home, I guess. And I ended up, doing a little tour here, and I got to see, the business school, and then also actually do like the college close-up. I didn't know it was called that, but got to experience that firsthand, and honestly just fell in love right away. And later on, I remember end of senior year, I got an invitation to come to Empowerment Day, which is an event that the Lindner Women in Business host. And just going there as well, I was just like, honestly, I just knew that this was the place for me. I think that's something that a lot of people that come here kind of go through. They see the building, all the opportunities that Lindner has to offer, and I just knew that I wanted to, come here and experience college life. So
yeah, was when you were looking for a college or even like a business school environment, how far high on the list was like feeling welcomed or feeling at home? It's related to like academics and everything like that. Did you want to feel like you kind of had like a second home when you were kind of moving on to the next experience?
Oh, 100%. I think that's something that was very like top of the list for me. I think once I did, a lot of these visits at different universities, I think the first thing that I looked for was, did I feel welcomed? And then once, like you experience that firsthand, and I felt like I did here at UC. I just knew that, I wanted to come here. So
yeah, the vibe's got to be right.
Exactly, yeah.
So who or what has most influenced, I guess, your path to this point where you are in your college career at this point? Who are the things, what are the principles maybe that have guided you so far?
Yeah, I think so far, like at UC, it's definitely been the support system that I've found here. Obviously, me being close to home, that's a bonus. So, I mean, having family so close by, honestly, that's obviously like a huge support system. But then outside of just family, I think it's the friends, and then also just like the faculty support that I've been able to experience has been amazing. So I think that's definitely been something that I've been able to been able to really hone into. So, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So when you were looking for colleges, did you have like or I guess even maybe when you entered UC, did you have like a kind of a written out plan or sort of a jotted out plan of like what you wanted to accomplish?
Yeah, honestly, yes, I would say so. So I think right after I graduated, high school, and then also knew that I wanted to come to UC, of course, I think I definitely made a list of, probably like orgs that I wanted to be a part of. I knew that was like something that I would really be engaged in here, specifically at Lindner. And I think I was able to, actually accomplish that as well. So I know like even just on our website, we have a ton of, different like opportunities kind of just listed on there to like get involved in right off the bat. And then also before classes started, we have like kind of like an orientation situation where you can kind of just come in and also experience all like the orgs that we have on campus, not just within Lindner. So, just experience that like involvement fair was honestly a great experience for me personally. And then kind of talking to people, people sharing their experiences in different orgs was definitely very helpful.
Yeah. My follow-up to that is, okay, you had your plan and you sounded it was very thorough. How has that changed now that you're 2 years in?
Yes.
How has that changed? And guess, and maybe in like some of the specifics, but also kind of like in the scope of what you expect for yourself.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like I said, definitely had kind of like an idea of what I was looking for, I would say, as far as, orgs and involvements. But I think once I got here, I did see kind of like a little bit of a space where I could potentially give back in a way. So that kind of looked like me starting my own orgs as
Right.
well. So I think that was huge. So even just like right off the bat, when I, my freshman year itself, I saw that there was room for, me being able to give back, and that looked like, starting 2 orgs. So for me personally, that was FBLA and then Hindu Yuva. I think both orgs, even previously, even in high school, I was very involved in. So I knew that I wanted to bring that here at UC. So I think that's how it started, and then I slowly developed into, kind of getting involved in other things as well. So
yeah, let's dig deeper into that, because when we spoke ahead of the podcast recording, I noted how much involved and passionate you were about the student orgs, which comes across here too.
Yeah.
What, I guess, is like your kind of inner purpose? Is it a mix of personal and professional? Like, are you seeing a gap you need to be filled for students like you? What's sort of your rationale for being so involved with multiple organizations, founding a couple, being a part of other ones, being in leadership positions as well?
Yeah. I think for me personally, it comes down to me wanting to be involved. I think that's something that's really stemmed my interest in, all of these, organizations kind of like giving back in that sense.
Yeah.
So I think that's how it started. And then also me seeing that progress of me kind of growing as, not just a student, but as a leader on campus. I think I've really seen that just these past 2 years. I mean, obviously starting an org, I would say it's probably one of the most challenging stuff that like I've honestly had to experience, just because it's finding, the right group of people, and then also that support system from, a faculty member as well, to find that advisor. And then also on top of that, it's also finding people that are interested in joining the org as well, because obviously it has to resonate with you in some sense. So I think all of that in all definitely was a process. But I mean, obviously we were able to, get through that, and then also find kind of a solid base of people that are really interested, willing to give back, and also come back, to our meetings every other week. So I think it's been a really great experience for sure.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. What have you found out about yourself as a student leader that maybe you didn't know when you first entered college?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is I would say even beginning of high school, I guess, I was somebody that was very shy. So I think kind of breaking out of that shell was me putting myself out there in these organizations. I think that's kind of what I've seen in myself. And then even just in college, I think, high school and college is such a big difference for sure. Like the amount of people, and then even just the communities that you get to be a part of, just very different, I would say. So I think me being able to push myself out there, I think that's something that I've able to learn a lot about myself. Me just putting myself out there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And what have you learned how to manage people? It's probably a little tough sometimes, because I'm sure some of these people that are in these organizations are your friends too. And
yeah.
Have you had any hard conversations about like, hey, maybe I need to step it up, or maybe I need more out of you? How have you sort of handled those conversations as you develop into a never-growing responsibility of a student leader?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a huge part. I think communication with your peers, and then also when you have an exec board, I think that kind of very much differs. And I think kind of finding that balance between friendship, because you're so right, because there are quite a few friends of mine who are part of these organizations, and even a few that are on leadership with me. So I think finding that balance it was definitely kind of hard, I would say, to navigate. But I think I'm getting better at it, day by day for sure. But I think there have been definitely a few times where I've had to kind of sit down and kind of figure out like what their role specifically looks like. Because sometimes, life gets busy. Like, honestly, I completely understand. So some people aren't able to, give back to the degree that they might have, kept on or kind of signed up for. So I think kind of having those tough conversations, definitely learned a lot through that, because sometimes it's how you approach those conversations and stuff like that that really do matter, obviously, to keep those relationships.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely been something that I've had to navigate for sure.
Yeah, well, that'll serve you well, definitely in the professional environment in a few years. Let's switch to your academics. 3 majors is a lot. Sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
So tell me about the combination you have. You have business. You're studying business analytics, finance, and operations management. What's your rationale for those select 3?
Yeah. So it first started just with business analytics, me coming in. And I would say that kind of came in through some of my experiences with analytics and kind of having some like hands-on experience, I guess, just working with, data specifically, and then kind of telling a story with it, I guess, kind of making sure that people that aren't as hands-on are able to understand it in a way that's kind of just like easy to comprehend for like pretty much just like a everyday person, like that might not know like how these numbers really work.
Yeah, making it digestible.
Yes, exactly. So I think just making it, like visually easy to understand, all of that, like as you said, digestible for pretty much anybody to really comprehend. That was something that I knew I wanted to like hone in on. So I think that started off, of course, with business analytics, and I knew that I wanted to pursue that. And then that slowly kind of translated into me also adding operations management later on. And I think I see myself, down the line having some kind of managerial role, sometime in the future, like that was that kind of prompted me to add operations management. And I also think understanding the behind the scenes of any kind of operation business is very important, like just fundamentally just to know. And then later on, I also kind of chose to add finance as well. I actually joined an org called Women in Finance, and that kind of really helped me hone in on like me wanting to actually pursue that as well. I think all 3 of those are like a very cool like mixture of different majors that we have to offer, and I think it'll definitely serve me right even in the future. So yeah,
absolutely. So let's transition to talk about co-op a little bit. What type of co-op experiences have you had so far?
Yeah. So it kind of started during high school for me. So I was able to experience like a finance and accounting internship with GMI companies. And that was definitely, I think, my first leeway into, the business world, I guess. And then later on, I was able to actually also get an experience with a financial planning firm. And I think that was definitely something that really, I guess, opened my eyes to like the finance world specifically. I was able to do some analytics work with them as well. So I think kind of honing in on those skills, I knew that I wanted to, pursue that in the future as well. And then later on as well, I was actually offered an opportunity actually through a professor here at UC, which was, it's called Little Fork Child Advocacy Center. So I think in a way it's giving back to the community in a way as well. And I think being able to work with kind of like a nonprofit as well, definitely very rewarding in my opinion. So I think experiencing those different opportunities have definitely, strengthened not just my skills, but, also just me as, a young developing professionals. So
yeah, and co-op experiences come in all shapes and sizes too. So not just sort of the traditional one too. So it's cool to hear your perspective on that.
For sure.
In terms of like the soft skills maybe you've acquired, what surprised you the most, or what have you learned about working in professional environments that you just couldn't pick up on in classrooms because it's just not there?
Oh, yeah. I think sometimes in classrooms, there's a lot of like collaborative work that you do. At least that's kind of what I've noticed in the classes that I've taken so far. I think sometimes even, when you're kind of working like a desk job, I would say you do obviously hop onto meetings and stuff like that, have a little bit of a collaborative environment, but there's a lot of kind of just hands down time where it's just like you just have to focus on your specific task that you're given. So I think think that was definitely a little bit of an adjustment, something new that I had to learn when I, started taking on these internships. Like obviously, that you have like this project to work on, but I think that collaborative environment, I'm very used to that at UC, when you're involved, even just with classes, working on projects with a lot of people. So I think that was definitely something that I was able to experience that was new. And then I think as far as like soft skills, I think that's something that you learn as you kind of like experience, co-ops, like, being in a professional environment. But I think UC like definitely prepared me so well for those experiences, I would say. When you are part of organizations and also leadership, I think you have to conduct yourself in a professional manner for sure. So I think taking those bits and pieces of experience that I'm able to, hone on to, like I was able to for sure, utilize in these experiences.
What would you say has been the biggest challenge that you've encountered, in college? Could be academically, could be on a co-op. Yeah. What's like been the biggest challenge that you can remember so far?
I think for me, I feel like I've been able to slowly navigate through this, but it's definitely like the time management aspect. I feel like we have a lot of students who are such huge, like overachievers, even some. So it's just like, I think balancing not just, the academics, the extracurriculars, and then some people managing, multiple jobs as well. Like I think for me personally, like finding that balance was definitely a bit challenging in the beginning. But I think we get so many resources, specifically, the career coaches, academic advisors. I think that extra support that I was able to kind of lean on made the biggest difference for me personally, at least. So I think just talking to them, having the conversations on, what classes to take, I think even just figuring out what orgs are, kind of worth, investing like my full energy in, I guess, and time. Yeah. I think figuring that out was definitely the biggest challenge, because sometimes, like at least for me personally, I just wanted to be part of really like everything, honestly. So it was just kind of honing in on like, those specific orgs that you want to give back to, and you're gonna get a ton out of as well, experience-wise. And then also I think the first and foremost thing is obviously doing well in classes as well. So being able to balance that, I think that was definitely something that was definitely an adjustment curve for me, but I think it's going well so far. So
yeah, don't want to extend yourself too much.
Exactly.
Got to remember that you're a college student too, even though if you want to do all these professional pursuits. Yeah. Let's talk to like the future a little bit and sort of where you want to position yourself in your field. What sort of business trends are you paying attention to that most relate, I guess, to your career field or trends that could affect your career field as you looked into the full-time job pool in a couple of years?
Yeah. I think for me personally, for like full-time specifically right now, I know for a fact that I would probably want to go into something with analytics, or even with, the operations management, even something with, a supply chain kind of like structure as well, I guess. Yeah. So I think for me personally, I think it's really figuring out like obviously what you want to pursue specifically. I think I was able to kind of understand that through like, the co-op experiences. And I think now I'm able to like hone in on like the analytics aspect now. So I think I would probably want to look into opportunities that are able to, I'm able to do a lot of hands-on analytics work. So I think that's what I see myself doing in the next couple of years full time. So.
Right. What excites you the most about, I guess, specifically the analytics field? And I guess what keeps you kind of staying interested in it? What is it? Is it specific subsets, or what is it that excites you about the field of analytics?
Yeah. I think for me personally, it's the fact that it's constantly changing, honestly. I think with, like AI being so huge now, you're able to use so many different tools to make, this data kind of like comprehensible for like anybody, like we were talking about earlier. But I think that's something that really like personally excites me. And yeah, I think just having that experience is definitely going to be super helpful.
All right. Let's close with some advice and maybe some look back. What would you tell your first year self if you're walking through the doors of Lindner Hall for the first time, your first day of class, freshman year? What would you tell young Hamsa?
Yeah, I think for me, it's keeping an open mind. I think I had kind of this outlook on like how I wanted, my college experience to look like, and there's obviously nothing wrong with that. But I think for me personally, just leave the door open. Take in the opportunities that you've been given. I think that's the biggest thing, because even in college, I think a lot of people are so busy with everything that they do, but I think it's taking time also for yourself. I think that's something that I've able to learn. It took me a little bit, not just freshman year, but it definitely took me all my sophomore year to like kind of like figure that out as well. But it's just kind of finding time for yourself as well, because that's obviously very important. So like, keeping yourself not just busy with, like your academics and like extracurriculars, but also time for yourself. And that can obviously, for some people, I think that just looks like just working out, for some people reading, or even just kind of hanging out with friends. So I think that's something that I would definitely tell myself, like freshman year myself. So yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, or what do you hope you'll be most proud of 30 years from now when you're a successful business person? What do you think you'll be most proud of when you look back on your Lindner experience 30 years from now?
I think for me personally, I would definitely be very proud of the fact that I was able to kind of establish something here at UC. I hope that obviously it's able to, continue, throughout, after I graduate, of course, yeah. But I think, starting these organizations, I feel like I'm very proud of, how they've been able to, shape not just my journey, but also the people that are involved in it as well. So I think that's something that I will look back at and feel definitely proud that I was able to accomplish that, because I obviously know like how much time, was spent on it. The people that really supported me through that, like journey of, establishing it as well. So I think that's something that I will look back at and definitely feel proud of.
Yeah. Well, Hamsa, thank you for your time today. Thank you for making the trip down from Mason. We're certainly glad you're here at Lindner, and we really value, especially as a student leader, influencing other students in a positive manner. So thank you for coming on Bearcats Mean Business.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Bearcats Mean Business. If today's episode sparked a new idea, challenged your thinking, or helped you see your path a little more clearly, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share the episode with someone in your network. Thanks for being part of the conversation. And remember, real-world success begins here at Lindner.